Alrighty, welcome, sisters. So, I would just like to start with a very brief introduction of Miss Haley over here, a beautiful, dear sister of mine that I'm so unbelievably grateful to have in this space, not only for this gathering, but if you are part of this membership, you know that you receive her beautiful moon reports and videos and guidance and wisdom and journal prompts and rituals and all of the things that just carry so much potency. Me and Haley met in Nosara when she was living there. I think you're in Sedona at this moment. Okay, amazing. And yeah, we just immediately dropped the fuck in together and flowed so much juicy wisdom between us. So I know for a fact through experience that you're in for such a treat. And that is all I'm going to say. Haley, you can take it away. Thank you so much for being here.
Mm. Thank you so much for that sweet introduction. I love how we can always introduce ourselves with like that story of how we dropped in. Like that'll be so sacred in my heart forever. That dance, that ecstatic dance we showed together. So I want to welcome y'all, and I want to welcome Rihanna, who just joined. So welcome. If y'all feel comfortable to put your videos on, I welcome you to. And I want to start us actually with an inquiry. And I love this question because there's really no right or wrong answer. And it's fun to see what comes through around, first of all, what is magic? What is magic to you? How would you define magic? And you can feel free to either type in the chat or just unmute yourself. We're a small enough group, so you can just like stream of consciousness express, remembering that there is no right, there is no wrong. What does magic mean to you?
So I can share what comes through immediately. For me, there's this idea of like being able to bend and shape and like manipulate almost energy, like work with energy, magic, like alchemy, working with the unseen.
Beautiful. I love that bend and shape. I love that.
I kind of agree with Lauren. I think like more for me, I was like, okay, law of attraction, like what you put into, like if you're gonna put energy towards something, you could create your life, your destiny. Like I think there's a lot more to it, but like I think anyone can get in tune with magic. I don't think it's like you grew up thinking like, oh, like they could do magic. Like no, we all have this like ability, right? It's just if you tune into it, if you put your energy toward it, like you could create magic.
Thank you so much, Kayla. That was beautiful. Heck yeah.
I would say that magic, like, yes to everything that was said already, but it's almost like this trusting, this like out of body trusting of like in whatever it is that like it is aligning with what you want. Does that make sense? I guess it's like there's like a higher player involved, like of confidence and trust.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you, Rihanna. Ali.
I would add, I would say that to me, I can really feel magic when I'm flowing as one with the universe, and I can feel the magic in the air. And to me, it expresses in synchronicities and things that are beyond our expectations.
Beautiful. Y'all so thoroughly covered that infinite topic. We can never really cover it, but it feels good to hear your voices and feel your magic already moving through. And the last piece that will draw us into opening our circle, opening our ritual, is the inquiry: what is to you a witch? And what comes up when the word witch is spoken? And again, there is no right or wrong to this question. Feel free to either chat it or just unmute yourself. And there's never any pressure to share, but like would love to hear what comes through for you. Imagery, ideas about what is a witch.
Immediate thought is like rituals. Like I think it's just someone who follows and believes in like rituals to manifest in my mind. Like I don't look at it as like, again, something that's just like unattainable. I think it's something like a way of life. Like you, it's my input.
Yes, Ma. Yes, 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 yes.
Comes through for me is the first like sentence that came through is like a woman who believes in her power so that she can use it, but also like just believes in God as well and like co-creates, like it's like her will, the higher will, like in this beautiful co-creative process, like understanding fully that she is participating in that while also surrendering to like something so much greater than herself and like being able to harness both of those forces.
Can you guys feel Lauren's magic? Like just moved through what she shared. And the way that the embodied, like she like took us on this journey and my body was like doing this. And when she was speaking this power of a woman, I was feeling she was speaking it into reality. And I was like, well, yeah, of course, that's what it is, because that's who she is. And that's who y'all are. And I see it. I can see it as a 3D expression. And so therefore it becomes more and more real as we like bring our words, the power of our word to it, and also the power of our bodies to it. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful. Anyone else? What is a witch?
I would just say they're just like, they're an energy worker.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I like that image of bending and shaping energy. Excellent. All right, if any last person wants to share, you're welcome to chime in. Yeah, bring it.
So I'm gonna add a witch is a woman who knows how to align with nature, with the forces of nature.
Heck yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Excellent. So many, all of those are so much yes. And the definition that I love so much is Ali like guided us right into it, which is someone who's aware of how the energy of the earth flows through her life and her environment. And she understands herself as part of that. Not that nature is separate or the elements are separate, but that she is part of it. And as a result, she gains the capacity to bend and shape that reality. This identification allows her to work in partnership with nature so that for the benefit of herself and all beings. Welcome, Yamil.
Hi.
Hey. All right, loves. So if you happen to have a candle, I invite you to light it now. And in fact, let's do this. If you have not lit your candle, do not light it yet. And let's connect first with our 3 cauldrons. So we're going to be moving and grooving today to activate and awaken these energies of the witch within us that I can already feel so clearly are so alive and vibrant in this room. No surprise, that is the energy of this entire journey that you all are on together. So let's start by taking our beautiful magic wands, our little digits here, and first touching hands onto heart, closing the eyes and just taking a breath into this center of your being. And from the center of your heart, send that breath out through your arm bones and into your fingers. Feeling the light from your heart radiate out through the arms and move into the lines of the fingers, a tip of light at the tip of each finger, a radiant sun at the tip of each finger. And as you're ready, slowly draw your eyes to your hands and take this yoni-shaped mudra, this triangle mudra. This version of Yoni Mudra, when I flip it down and I place it on my womb, I know there's a lot of names for this sacred mudra because it's so imperative for reactivating our power as women, but I like to call it the mudra of desire. So closing your eyes, I invite you to breathe your belly open into the center of your palms. As you softly draw your awareness and your focus down inside of your own body into the seat of power within you that is your womb. Feeling the breath flood into the palms. Connecting in with this cauldron of your body, this sacred energy portal. This is the cauldron of desire. And as you breathe here, you might even stir the hips just a little bit, stirring the cauldron, awakening and activating the pelvic energy, the sacral energy. And then slowly centering and taking this mudra, simply sliding it upward to the heart. And now, instead of down, see if you can point it out. And then drop into your inner space. Again, touch the thumbs deep into the center of the sternum. And feel how the radiance of your loving heart is now directed outward. And take a breath into this space within you that is the seat or the cauldron of devotion in your body. This place of your devotion to your highest good, to the highest good of your people, to the highest good of all beings, and this beautiful Mother Gaia. Taking a breath into the heart, feeling it emanate out through the arms and into the fingertips as you direct your devotion forward. And on your next inhale, slide that same mudra right up to the third eye center, pointing up towards the sky. And take a breath into the center of your brain. And you might even slide that mudra up just a little farther onto the crown of the head. And now we've created a witch's cap. We've created this sacred shape of the hat that popes wear, that we see in religious traditions around the world, this channel for divine energy at the crown of our head. And as you breathe here into this sacred center, flooding your brain with the light of your womb and heart, activate and awaken and call forth the power of your discernment. The power to not only know what you desire, but to know whether it's rooted in truth or rooted in shadow. Taking another breath. And then slowly sliding the mudra downward. You can kind of point it downward and connect the third eye to the heart. Slide that mudra all the way back down to the womb. And feel these 3 points united on your spine, the 3 cauldrons of power. As you're ready, slowly let the eyes float open and take them to your candle if you have your candle. And I invite you to awaken the fire within by lighting the fire without. And to take a moment just to gaze into the flame or to gaze into your own beautiful heart if you don't have a physical flame. Taking both hands again to the root, both hands to your womb, activating the power of your desire. Feeling how your desire desires you. How your magic is here awake and alive through your womb. Taking that mudra to the heart, activating the power of our devotion together. the power of our vision for the highest good of all. This collective of love we're creating, remembering on planet Gaia. And lastly, third eye center, the witch's cap, the power of discernment, awakening and activating this intention to see beyond the 3D into truth, integrity. And slowly, as you're ready, releasing the palms. Excellent. We have our intention for our practice that is the foundation of all magic. So I invite you to stand with me now. And a big part of awakening are a remembrance of our deepest power inside of us in the midst of a culture with a deep history of not only oppressing, but actually murdering women in their power. And we'll talk a little bit about that foundation later, is this separation from our bodies. So when we get back in our bodies and when we connect with the innate magic here, it activates a remembrance within us. Even when we may have bound our own power in the past, had a binding spell around our own power in the past due to persecution. So I invite you now to take your hands onto your body, maybe starting at your heart, and just drop into your own sensual touch. Again, closing the eyes, feeling your roots on the earth, and just touching your fingertips to your neck and your chest, touching gently on your face, maybe tracing down the outside of your breasts or over your breasts, and allowing the power of your focus to be on this touch. Sliding the hands down the front of the thighs, begin to slowly draw them down the thighs to the knees and slowly forward on the shins down to the legs and touch the earth in your forward fold. Making connection with your hands through the earth, letting the fingertip lights be roots emanating downward, and just taking a moment to shake out the head. No, I am allowing anything that's not serving me in this moment to release in this moment. I'm creating a boundary here. And shake the head, yes. I'm inviting in my power and my magic here in this moment. And then as you're ready, bend the knees and tuck the tailbone and so slowly just curl up. So long as that feels safe and healthy for your back, just take your time to roll through your spine and to feel it. And to roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. And just to notice your body now. Even in this few minutes of movement, we may have shifted our breath. We may have shifted our mind state a bit. And that noticing is our magic. That noticing is our power of focus and awareness. Beautiful loves. Let's call on nature inside of us through the elementals. If you know the direction of the east, I invite you to turn to face it. And if not, no problem. You can turn to face me at the front. The power of the elements is our power. It is our unity with our power, with the power of nature. So find your feet nice and planted. Take your hands to your hips and just for a moment, feel in and feel how these are the hips of your grandmothers. Your grandmothers were alive like you. They were in their body. They were in their bodies or out of their bodies in the same way we are at different times. These are the hips of my grandmothers. And from there, with the feet planted, begin to inhale the arms around the body, and we call in the circle of magic that is our energetic field as we open up to the sun. And we exhale, inviting that down into our forehead, our throat, our heart, floating the hands, soft cloud hands, down to the belly, receiving earth energy, and then drawing that back up around, taking a little back bend up at the top. I invite you to continue this flow, or you might even deepen it with the same action by simply forward folding all the way down, and then inhaling all the way around and up and reaching. Your choice, your version, and this can be done seated as well. Draw to your inner space and feel the breath moving through your body, woman. And remember how this is the same air that was breathed by your sacred ancestors, your pre-patriarchal ancestors, the midwives and healers in your lineage who held the sacred mystery rites of the feminine. This is the same breath of your ancestors that are the trees. We share 50% of our DNA with the trees. Feel their gift of clean, pure air move through your body as we call on, activate, and awaken the power of the air element inside of us to support our desires, our devotion, and our discernment as wise women, as witches. Last full cycle to physically in your body feel the power of the air element, this rising sun, the beginning of the cycle, the inner child, and sealing down the hands in Anjali Mudra at heart center and bowing to the air element inside of you, bowing to your inner child, bowing to the freshness of spring. A quarter turn over to the right, wherever you are, will bring you to the direction of the south, the element of fire. And I invite you to start by bringing your legs wide, sliding your hips a little right and left, and then taking the fire in front of you and just twisting and turning and spiraling and bending the energy as you let the fire rise all the way up. Maybe the hands come back around and down, and then from your root, the power of your energetic center rises through this movement. So with the movement, we're directing the awakening of the energy through our chakras, through our center. Keep that going. We call on, invoke, and invite the power of the fire within us, the power of the self, the power of our energetic body, our spiritual body carried here. The power of the lover inside of us, the warrioress inside of us. She is awake. She is alive now. And then take your sword of the sword that emanates from the heart. You can take the hands here, crossing the left over the right, the feminine over the masculine. Take the hands up, exhale, boom, let it go. If you're being gentle or you're bleeding, you can go soft. You can do this seated. But if you're fiery today, if you're ovulating, just get it. Because fire energy is the power of ovulation. It lives in your body whether or not you still bleed. Taking your breath here and feeling the power of the fire activate and awaken inside of you. Activating the power of your desire, your devotion, and your discernment. Letting the arms rise up. Slowly draw them down in front of the heart center and bow to the energy of fire that is not separate from you. This energy of fire that is you. And as you're ready, take a quarter turn over to the right. Find yourself in the direction of the west, the water element. And I like to get nice and juicy low for this. If your legs don't love to get low, you can just take like a little bend. I like to get all the way down in Malasana and feel the clear stream in front of me. See crystalline clear waters, the waters of 200 years from now, back to their pure earth origin. We can travel back 1,000 years, or we can travel forward a couple hundred years and find that clean crystalline stream. Dip down and take that water in your palms, and then press your feet down to lift it up to the sky and make it an offering, offering the water up. the water of your emotions, your dreams, your visions, and then purify your field. So flood the water around your body, around your field. Hands come around your field, cleansing and purifying until you drop back down and take up more sacred water and offer it back up to the sky. And then bathe your field, cleanse your field with the element of water, front, back, and sides. And as you continue this movement, let yourself become the water that you hold, breathing into this aspect of the mother, the creatrix, the enchantress, the witch within us. She awakens now, and we call on the power of the waters of our blood, our lymph, our spinal fluid. We call on the powers of the waters of the earth that are us to activate and awaken our inner powers now of desire, devotion, and discernment. Last time to lift that water up to the sky, to make an offering of your creations. And then slowly draw the hands into heart center and bow to the water element inside of you that is you. This emotional body of ours. And a quarter turn to the right to find the earth element. I invite you again to get earthy. I like to take this goddess posture, something that gets my legs like fired up. And from here, as the arms float open, the heart floats open, we call on the power of the earth. And from this powerful leg position, I invite you just to touch down and feel the soil underneath your hands, the sand or the red rock, whatever it is, and then come back up and place it on your womb, touching the earth to your womb center, your root. As you continue touching earth and touching womb in your own pace, feel the steadiness, the heaviness of your earth body, your physical body, the power of the crone within us, the wise woman, awake and alive now, supporting us to activate the power of our desire, our devotion, and our discernment as wise women, as witches. We honor that we are one with the two-leggeds, the four-leggeds, the creepy crawlies, the stone people, the tree people. We acknowledge that we are a small part of Gaia's evolution. Taking one last moment to touch down to the earth and then to touch into your womb, call your crone self here. Call your wise woman self here. Feel her with her beautiful graying hair, with her skin that shows the harvest of her years, the wisdom of her years. Excellent. And as you're ready, slowly and gently release that. We've activated the power of the four directions, the power of the earth, the air, the fire, and the water that are not separate from us, but that are us. And now just a moment of chant. So I will sing. Y'all are on mute. It'd be so nice if it worked to be off mute, but it doesn't. So this is I'll sing the chant once and I'll give you the motions. If you're bleeding and you're lying and you're chilling, like, yes, chill hard. And if you want to do the motions, I invite you to make it as much of a sensual biohacking dance as you can, because that's part of our magic. Just like Lauren was like, I shape and shift reality. And I was like, yeah, you do. I can feel it and see it. Same thing. So I'll sing the words first. We are the flow. We are the ebb. We are the needle. We are the thread. This one's hard with the movement. It's thumb to pinky. We are the spider. We are the web. We are the witches back from the dead. Sing it with me. We are the flow. We are the ebb. We are the needle. We are the thread. We are the spider. We are the web. We are the witches back from the dead. We are the flow. We are the ebb. We are the needle. We are the thread. We are the spider. We are the web. We are the witches back from the dead. One more. We are the flow. We are the ebb. We are the needle. We are the thread. Heck yeah. We are the spider. We are the web. We are the witches back from the dead. Get a little shake, a little booty shake. Ooh. Yes, 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 we are. Bring it back to circle. And I want to tell y'all where I learned that song. I learned that song, I think it was 2017 when Trump got elected, and there was the marches all around the United States and all around the world. And I found this, like, you know, of course, by synchronicity, I just happened, I mean, there was like, I was in Oakland, so there was just like tens of thousands of people flooding the streets. And by synchronicity, I happened to find these wise women all carrying around these crones, all carrying around drums. And they were going at it with all the witch songs. And that was what they were, that was the energy they were holding at the Women's March. The Women's March, that's what it's called. Yeah, yeah. So that was my initiation into songs about really reclaiming this history. So coming back, I would love to drop in for just a moment to, yeah, thank you, Lauren. Let's actually all take a drink of water so we can connect to that element within us, the element of flow, and the element that carries memory. So to wrap up the elements, of course, the air is the same air our ancestresses breathed. The fire is the universal energetic matrix, right? The water is the same water that our ancestresses who knew the ways of the earth, who were indigenous to their lands, who knew the ways of the plants, who knew the ways of manipulating reality, love that word, but being dexterous with their consciousness. So that is the definition. That is one of the most potent definitions of magic. I know the power to shift consciousness at will, to shift your consciousness at will. And the power of the earth, the power of our bones, the same bones our ancestors had, these bones that will be here long after we have, all the other parts of us have slipped away. So when we're talking about our magic, when we're talking about our power, when we're talking about the witch wound, we cannot miss history. And from what I see here, it's, you know, we all have unique backgrounds, but the thing is, regardless of where your people originally are from, so your people were indigenous to a land and they lived there for tens of thousands of years, and they knew the ways of the plants. Their stories were intimately tied to their land. Their language was intimately tied to their land. Their rituals was intimately tied to their land. Their languages, even just to think about the current area that we think of as Great Britain, it's like we had hundreds of languages, not just dialects, like hundreds of languages of the tribal peoples that lived, you know, around the world. And we're very familiar with colonialism as a modern concept. We're very familiar with the history for those of us in the United States, the history of slavery. Many of us who stay connected, maybe familiar with the concept of neocolonialism or economic colonialism. So, but there is a collective historical amnesia about the largest genocide in history, which is actually the root of all other colonialism. It is the root of all white supremacy around the globe. It is the root of really all the violence we see of conquering peoples and taking land, whether that's done economically or physically. And yet there's a collective amnesia about this 1,000 years of terror that existed in the reign of the Catholic Church in Europe. So regardless of where your people are from, it is a really important history for us to remember because traumatized people traumatize people. And the way that this was experienced in Europe was indigenous local peoples in communion with their land, and the Roman Empire, really the second empire, you had Kemet in Africa, and then the second empire, Rome comes and decides to literally just conquer everything, decides to just conquer the world. So that was accomplished over a period of a couple hundred years, but any conquering project, the actual cultural shifts take effort, take energy. So how were women's bodies colonized during this period of between like 200 when 200 BC, AD, when Rome had taken over for the most part, most of Europe. And when we hit the Inquisition, when we hit the 1300s, 1400s, up until even in the 1900s, was a woman murdered for witchcraft. And to this day, women around the world are still actually being murdered for connection to their body, connection to their sexuality, their magic. And this is the most important piece to really communicate to women, is that, so I actually have the Malleus Maleficarum here. So this was actually the book that was used to try witches, and it's very explicit and very specific. So the actual definition, I want to get you, so while sorcery or witchcraft had been like identified as a thing within the Catholic religion, within the early Christian religion, or even the Old Testament, there was a new definition that began to arise due to historical conditions in Europe and the desire to conquer the indigenous people, and the note that in indigenous communities in Europe, women were in positions of great power. Women were landowners. Women were leaders in their community. Women were doctors and judges, and women were just seen as as an equal part of the fabric of culture. So the new definition that shifted, really important to note, the separation of church and state arose from this phenomenon. The Catholic Church was the government, was Rome. It's like Rome. It's like Rome, and then it was the Catholic Church. And so Rome, the Catholic Church, and the government, if we want to be historically messy, we can just say they're the same thing. They were the same thing for 1,000 years. And so the new definition was that witchcraft is the crime of facilitating any act of sexual release without the intention of reproduction. Totally. And also, this is a quote straight from here: no one does more harm to the church than midwives. So midwives were very specifically, it was like midwives were the ones who were extremely specifically sought out. And at this time, it was advocated by the church that men beat their wives, not because they're bad, but just to support their souls, their very dark, sinful souls, as women always being connected with the body, right? To come back into the light of God. So never once was the witch trials ever separated from women's sexual autonomy. The witch trials was about women's sexual power. It was about the power that moves through the feminine body to create life. This is the power of the witch. And you can call it whatever you want. I really want to empower us all to, like, if witch works for you, like if you identify with that, great. I taught yoga for many years. And once I started transitioning into women's work more and more, I just finally owned it. I was like reviewing a few rituals a couple days ago for this. And I was, going back to like when I was more a yoga teacher. And I just told them, anytime I've ever told you, yogi, this is the power of the yogi. The yogi has the power to transform her consciousness. The yogi has the power to use her body to awaken states of bliss. The yogi has the power to activate her breath and movement in order to consciously craft her environment and her lifestyle and her psyche. I just said to them, anytime I've ever said yogi for the past 15 years, go ahead and just go replace it with witch. Because it's the same thing. You replace it with witch, you can replace it with alchemist, whatever feels good for you. And it's worth noting that I was reviewing one of my rituals from maybe 3 years ago when I lived in Costa Rica at the time, and I was visiting Sedona, where I live now, which is like a spiritual mecca of the world, right? And I was at an ecstatic dance, and I met this beautiful old woman, and she was like this 80-year-old woman who was like fucking like shining with every cell, just radiating like magic and power and beauty. And we like fell in love with each other on the dance floor, and we just danced for like an hour. And then after, she was like, oh my God, I remember you from the temples of Isis. And I was like, and we just like embraced, and we developed this like quick friendship. And the funny thing is that we were at lunch not long after that. And I was doing a Wake the Witch ritual then. And I mentioned it, and she's like, oh yeah, I don't like that word. I don't like that word, witch. And I was like, what? Tell me more. She's like, because it's associated with black magic. And also, if I go back 1 year, so if I go back 4 years ago to when I led a Wake the Witch ritual, and I'm watching the recording, I literally said this, and it's wild to me that I even said this, but it still feels actually relevant, is I said, hey, just so you guys, I was talking to yogis at the time, right? And I said, hey, so you guys know, like the whole like evil dark magic in the forest thing, like that never happened. Like that's not a thing. Like that's not like witches have never done that. That's like, and it's so wild that I like was speaking that. And but you know what? It just goes to show it's actually, I do feel it's relevant for maybe not you guys, but a general population, that there has been this demonization of, what is it? Demonization of women's sexuality. That it's actually dark black magic. And that is, if you go in here and you pull it out, I mean, this is all about women's sexuality. That's what this is how witches were. The idea was that they had sex, literally, this is quotes, like multiple times in here, that what it was is that women had sex with the devil. Like that was what they were being tried for. They were being tried for having sex in the forest with the devil. So all of this to say that as we dance soon with our spell work, that we will be calling on the power of our sacred sensuality, our sacred sexuality. And that doesn't have to be, right? It's like our eros doesn't have to be like sexual energy. It's like communion with the breath, communion with the air element, communion with the waters, dropping into the ocean, drinking your beautiful sacred water onto your throat and feeling it instead of being off somewhere in the mental body. All of this is the remembrance of our power, because it is specifically, not because, but of course it was specifically these powers of women that were targeted in order to, of course, when women were tried for witchcraft, they paid for their own trial. So we don't see homeless women, which first of all, we're in a different time. We started to get maybe a little homelessness towards the 1300s, maybe towards the thousands. But long story short is the women that were being tried is the women who were holding power in the culture or the women who were landowners. And they were paying for their trial with their land and all of their assets so that the church government took their assets and they were disenfranchised and disempowered in their community. And there was a culture of fear and shame. Now, just to close that up before we move into a moment of feeling that, taking space to actually feel that, is just to say that what I've noticed in doing ancestral work for deeply in my own practice for many years and guiding women for many years is that for those of us who identify, for those of us who have white skin, which doesn't even exist, like white people doesn't even exist, right? But like for those of us who have light skin, a lot of us don't even feel like we have ancestors. Like we don't even know, like I think it's harder often for white women to connect with their ancestry. And this is a big reason why. If there was 10 generations of your grandmothers that watched their mothers be tortured or burned, I would sure forget that too. If there was 10 generations of this indoctrination that was completely opposite of the way the indigenous culture of the land, the spirituality of the land, that said any sexuality expressed by a woman is evil. Anyone who's trying to relieve pain in childbirth is evil because it is women's burden to feel pain in childbirth. That's in that book as well. So anyone who tries to relieve any discomfort of menstrual cramps is automatically evil. So now I asked you to bring a stone. You may or may not have this, and it is absolutely not necessary, but it's an example of how the natural world becomes our platform or our ally, our partner, to commune with the power of magic, which is the power to shift our consciousness at will. Any woman who is claiming her body, any woman who is claiming her dance, any woman who is claiming her sexuality, any woman who is claiming the power of plants, any woman who is reconnecting with nature is carrying this grief. And in fact, we are all carrying this grief. And we can't have the conversation about healing our witch wound. We haven't even talked about what the witch wound is yet. But we can't have that conversation without acknowledging that this that is carried within us, whether we are conscious of it or not. And while we don't have tons of space for like a huge grief ritual in this moment, as wise women, we can use the power of our intention, the power of our desire, the power of our devotion, and the power of our discernment. With the help of the earth, it makes it a lot juicier too. So if you don't have a stone, actually, one other thing that can be done, if you have like a small thing of water, there's no reason to like run and get things right now. But if you like, for example, if you're watching the recording, you could get like a small thing of water. This can really be done with any natural object that you're prepared to release. So what I would love to do is we're going to hold this stone or keep the water bowl in our consciousness as we step into the ways that we may still be carrying the wounds of our ancestors, and acknowledging that we're not bringing up wounding to freaking wallow in the mire. Like that's not what we're doing. We're bringing up the witch wound because when we shine a light onto our shadows, They reveal themselves as our greatest power, as our greatest strength. And as wise women or creatrixes or manifestors or wombifestors or womanifestors or witches, whatever word feels good, or alchemists, whatever word, or yogis, whatever word feels good for you, if we're literally channeling our will, we're channeling our desire, and we're not connecting with our shadows, we will be channeling from an unclean container. And all of our creations anyway, are infused with what's happening inside of us. That is the magic of the wand, that is the arm and the hands. It's coming straight from inside and channeling into all of our actions, whether we just walk into a room or whether we are creating businesses, children, whatever it is. So in order to clear out some of, or really just to shine the light, when those demons, when their shadows are in the closet, they're just doing push-ups, but when we bring them out, lovingly offer them our witness, we begin to clear for our ancestresses and for our descendants this witch wound within us. So before we do that, I'd like you just to continue to hold, if you do have a stone, to hold that in your palm. And I'm going to one by one speak just some of the elements of the witch wound. And I invite you to actually, let's actually engage with the chat. So maybe you put your stone in your lap, and I'm going to speak them. And if it feels true for you, I would like you to say, you can either write what it is, or you can say, that's for, like, yes. You can say yes, right? So witch wound symptoms of being persecuted for your power and your magic as a woman. Staying small, a fear of being seen, a fear of visibility, the ways that we keep ourselves veiled so that people don't fully see who we are. And feel free to say yes if you feel that's true for you, or you've experienced that on any level. Thank you. Fear of judgment. So very related to the staying small and the visibility. Fear of judgment, which causes a performative mask. It causes us to be a shapeshifter in our environments. Oh, does she like this? Oh, he likes when I'm like this. Oh, my boss really likes when I'm like really demure or really bold. So the fear of judgment is also our perfectionist. I have to get it right. I have to get it right. I have to do it right. Or what? We'll be judged. We'll be outcast. We'll be isolated. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, I feel that. It's a big part of sharing in the chat, is because this is so universal to women on the spiritual path and women generally. Disconnection from Gaia. So we see that throughout our world. So much of my work is supporting women to connect with the earth. And I really see from the 10,000-foot view, when I call on my ancestors and my storytelling ancestors to be with me and move through me, I see how this work that we do of this basic connection with the elements and these rituals with the earth and with the stone, like our indigenous ancestors, like they wouldn't even have understood it, because it was just, they just lived like in communion and like knowing of like themselves as the earth, and the release as when we touch the black rock and we put it in the water, it is like the cleansing. So we're just remembering now. Thank you all for being part of that remembrance. It's can never underline enough how potent it is to be here. This is deep active. This is, I think, the most important activist work, the reclaiming of the women's body in the women's circle. Disconnection from your body or bodily shame. This can be a fear of the feminine, general, like a dislike of the feminine, like energy, a discomfort with expressing your femininity. This can be a disgust with your own sexuality, your yoni, your blood, your moon blood. Yeah, it can also be a fear of aging. Because of course, in order for the patriarchal mechanics to work, that had to be the first thing. because the wise women, the ancient women, the crones were the ones with the power. They were the ones with the wisdom and the power flowing through them. They were holding that for the community. They were initiating the young maidens, the virgins, into their blood, into their power. This is so pivotal. They were the ones that were protecting the maidens by teaching them the power of their body. So the first thing to do to make the maidens vulnerable is to take away the crones and to say, she's actually just an old witch. She's an old hag, which of course, crone, all of these things really just meaning wisdom, like different versions, different variations of the wisdom when we go back into the etymology. And then we see that in the good old Disney films. We see that again and again. So, all right, self-doubt or not good enough. Not good enough, feelings of like, I'm not good enough, or I don't know if I can do this, or who am I? Who am I to do this? Yeah, thank you for writing in the chat and reflecting on that, because I have been doing this work with women for 16 years. I don't know that I've ever met a woman who doesn't have that. And of course, the sister wound. How could we not have a sister wound? How could we not have a sister wound when I could save my life by throwing you under the bus? When I could save my baby from my womb, from being taken by saying, no, it was her. The sister wound is a direct outgrowth of the witch trials. Thank you for healing that with me in this moment. Thank you for loving yourself enough to heal that and to be willing to be seen by other women. And last is this binding of your magic or your power. So can you imagine if you were burned at a stake, that you might, especially if you were persecuted many times, that you might, when it said at this time at Samhain, the goddess, you know, whatever age you die, you enter into the Isle of Apples at Avalon, and the goddess takes your hand at whatever age you were, and she walks you around the island, and you go back and you review your life from 1 year before, 2 years before, you go back and back until you're a baby. And once you're a baby, then you're ready to be reborn. Once you've processed the remembrance of your life. So don't you think if you had immense power as a healer, that if you were persecuted for it again and again, that you might actually turn that power against yourself? That you might say, okay, I'm gonna bind my magic in this lifetime. I just wanna break. I don't want my babies taken from me. I just need a break. So we're gonna release those vows with this stone. Yeah, totally. And this also, just to close that down, this also, last piece. Yeah, touching and loving ourselves through this last piece of skepticism of spirituality or your healing abilities, skepticism of your knowing, skepticism of your intuition. Yes, yes. How long has it taken you beautiful beings to find this circle? I can't believe the age, you know, it took, even though I was like on the path, it's like how many years? And now through this grief, through this conscious relationship with our grief, we're making it easier for our daughters to acknowledge that earlier and earlier. All right, loves. So here's how we're going to roll. I wanna, yes, we're good. This is perfect. So I want to take time to feel this personally in our bodies, in your story, because this is all theoretical. These are words on a page until we understand for ourselves. How has the witch wound manifested in your life? And I invite you to go like right now, like this week, this month, if you have a story. All grief is connected to all other grief, and working with any grief liberates the fabric of our emotions. We can't feel the joy and ecstasy if we can't feel the grief. So I want to put us in witness. I'm just going to drop us into partners, and each person has 2 minutes to share their personal grief story. And this can be like, yes, we listed these wounds, right? You don't have to, like, like look at your notes and like be like, well, I see this one. It's just like, honestly, whatever you're experiencing grief in right now, I guarantee you the witch wound is there. Anyway, that we're questioning our own capacity, or we're not in coming back to, I think it was Rihanna who shared at the beginning, that place of trust with our lives, that place of trust with our bodies, that place of trust in our relationships. So this is an opportunity to share any grief that is alive in your heart right now and to present it as a story. I'll give you a 1-minute countdown. And so it is, it's a limited space, but you're going to hold your stone as you do. You might make a connection with how you see that connected to the witch wound, if that feels good for you. But really, ultimately, what we're doing here is we're clearing some space and we're being witnessed in our power, because the expression of our truth is our power. And we're clearing historical energy as well, so that we'll move into celebration and spell work. We'll move into like communion with the body. Okay, loves. So I'm going to drop you into breakout rooms. And as always, you are welcome to share. And if you do not feel comfortable sharing, that is also your right. And you're welcome to actually have the other person hold silence for you. They might even hold their womb or hold their heart for that 2 minutes. And we can just feel what's here. And that might even be something that calls to you now, because sometimes it's when we hear all of this intensity, I know it's insane to just like speak all this in like 20 minutes, because it's like the depth is so big, but let it be alive for you in your own way. I'm putting up these breakout groups. I will give you, you can just start as you begin. I'll give you a 1-minute countdown, and then I'll say shift to the next partner. When we come back, we'll bring our stone that was in our hands. Okay. We'll see you in a little over 4 minutes. Hop on into your room, Rihanna. Get in your room. Let me know. I think I can even put you in your room if you want to go. Do you want to go to your room? It sounds like I'm a mama. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, she had to pop out. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to move to room 2, and then I'm going to give them a broadcast. So I'm broadcasting to them. We're going to do 3 partners, 2 minutes each, because I still feel like it's best to put it in a smaller group. Although because we're such a small group, I feel the temptation to just have it in this room. What do you think? Say it one more time. Oh.
Am I doing this wrong?
So you're with us, and you're going to share with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So loves, I'm going to just set a clock. So I just want to let you know that there'll be a small part of my consciousness that is on a clock. But other than that, I'm going to be in full witnessing as much as possible. And there's 3 of us. So even if I'm like, my awareness is slightly elsewhere, you'll still be held and witnessed. So I would love, Rihanna, if you would start. And I'm just going to put on a timer right now actually, I'm going to take 3 minutes.
It's actually a coincidence that this is happening right now. So right now I'm on my way to the airport. So my time is divided. However, it is very parallel to how I live my life, which is just apologizing. I just feel like so sorry for everything, even if it's just anything. I just feel so apologetic, like I'm in the way and I'm not doing enough. So those 2 are just so pivotal, even right now in this moment, as I'm trying to balance, being here in this meeting and going to the airport. And Something else that's a big part of my life right now is control, releasing control, and really trusting that the universe has got me, because I just find myself wanting to control in the weirdest ways. And it's born out of fear, and just trying to give up is very scary. So that's me.
Thank you so much, Rihanna. This is what I like to do in my circles because we're virtual and it feels like more embodied, but Lauren has seen it before, so she can join me. But we see you, woo, little witch glasses. We honor you. We celebrate you. Yeah. And I'm wondering, since we have a little extra time, because I won't share, but we'll give space for Lauren to share. I'm wondering if you feel called to share anything about the way that you've seen this pattern manifest in your matriarchal line. Like if there's anything from whoever raised you as your feminine role model that illuminates that as well.
I am definitely working with a mother wound right now. So this 100% is manifesting in the relationship with my mom, and even in the way that I parent myself. What did you also say? You said the way that I was raised and other ways that it's manifesting in my life today.
Yeah, like I'm curious where you see that. It's like you
Okay.
specifically identified working with the mother wound, but where you like the ways you've seen that in your
Yep.
mother, the ways you've seen that in your aunties.
Um, Conditional love for sure. Um, Women were very quiet. Women are very quiet in my household because they want to be proper and they want to be polite. But then when they've hit their thrust, it's like balls to the wall. It will like unleash. So it's almost like it builds up over time. Um, I notice a lot of I want to say resentment in terms of like they like the control in my family because they're really smart and they're really powerful, and they like being in control of like what we're eating, what the activities are for the vacation, where we're going on vacation, what is my dad doing today, and when is he going to come home, all of these little things. And then it's almost like again it kind of bubbles to the point where like they just hit a burnout period or like a freak out moment, and then they explode. So I guess like a loss of balance there and regulating their own emotions and then taking care of themselves. All the women in my family give, 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 give because they love to love, but then they neglect themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for speaking that. I feel like when as you're speaking, it's like I'm holding my rock and I'm like feeling so many parallels between my own matriarchal line and my own patterning, and just feeling the connection between so many women, putting it into this stone for you that I'll be offering to the earth and for me and for us. Thank you. And Lauren, I know we're actually starting to like wrap up the rooms, but would you be willing to share for like a minute? You are muted, Beauty.
I will hold off just because what I have to share would definitely just need like 3 minutes. And
Absolutely.
I would love to voice note you afterwards and just share it with you. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And there'll be space. I want to speak that to everyone. Like if people want to stick around for a few minutes, like I'm happy to, I would love to hear more stories as well. And that may not be the time for us. I know that you and I, Lauren, will have space to share this type of thing in many contexts moving forward. And we can't share enough. I closed up their rooms, so we'll be welcoming them back. Invite us to nourish ourselves with water as I queue up our next little spot. as we wait for them. I think they'll be here in any second, but anything. Oh, here they are.
Oh,
How was
Sorry.
it over there? How was that
Good.
for you guys?
Great.
Okay, good. I'm
deep.
glad. It's almost like, it feels like we're at like a slumber party and there's like 3 girls in one room and 3 girls in another room. It's like, what are they doing over there? They're sharing their grief into a stone. So I invite us to take the stone, or if we're working with a bowl of water instead, or if we're just working with our intention, all of it is power, all of it is magic. And we might take that onto our heart or our womb and just connect into your own being for a moment. Connect with the grief of your heart and your life and just tapping into it. We know that there's a moment for diving into that pool. And in this moment, we're actually just honoring and tapping in. And let's set the intention. Intention is the foundation of magic. We'll set the intention that by sharing our grief in circle, by being witnessed, by speaking our truth, that we are lightening some of this load for women throughout history, for our descendants. And we can invite that intention to infuse this stone. This is our grief stone we'll release to the earth. And taking it into your palms, or energetically into your palms, take a big inhale from your womb up. We'll activate this offering with our breath. Inhaling. As you exhale onto the stone, set that intention. I am releasing some grief into this stone. Breathing onto the stone. And twice more, using the power of your breath, the power of the air element, and releasing your life force onto this stone, setting the intention. I release this grief for all women throughout history. And last time, the fullness of your breath, the beauty of your breath, the beauty of your life force as you exhale into your palms. I am honoring my ancestresses and descendants through this work, through this connection with nature, with myself, my body. And coming back with the palm in your stone in your palms, this is now an offering. So I invite you right after, you do have a physical object, and if you don't, so even if you're in a car on the way to the airport, whenever you next see earth or a plant, or even better, water, if you have space for ritual later today and you want to take this to the ocean. But also, perfection is the enemy of done. And when we're doing magic, we don't need to do like the 3-hour ritual. Like, it's all magic. This is magic. We're literally talking to each other from around the world. This is insanely magical. So I invite you to take this stone and to offer it with a prayer onto the earth. She's so good. She's so loving and generous. She loves to recycle our ancestral trauma, right? She's the one who can. So I invite you to offer this stone. Maybe you dig a little hole. Maybe you offer it to the waters. Just let it be simple. You can walk right outside your door. And so now I invite you to place that in front of you, and let's not forget it. I'll give you a reminder before you go, because you don't want that stone like sitting around your house, right on your altar. So you can just offer it back to the Great Mother, the Great Recycler, to clear our field even more. And now we are going to close with a spell. And I just want to speak, all words are spells. In Sanskrit, the word for language, the word for speech is matrika. It translates to the little mothers. It is the feminine creative force. So the mother manifests through her womb. She manifests the other world, the ancestor world, into the 3D. It is the power of the alchemist. You cannot divorce the power of the witch from the power of the mother. They are both the creators. They manifest their desire into form through their devotion. So again, the root of women's power and the reason it was so targeted is in our relationship to our body, because this is where intuition lives. This is where we feel our truth. This is where we feel our aliveness. This is where we feel the empowerment that allows us to stand up, to speak our truth, that allows us to stand up as leaders. And I want to drop this in, since we're on the topic of power always. Are we ever not on the topic of power as we reclaim our power as women? But power is for sure a felt experience, but there is also an element of power that is influence. It is the power to take the desire in our womb and our yoni and to manifest that through our devotion out into the magic wand of the arm, into our acts of service, into our, the projections of what we desire onto reality, also known as manifesting. And I just want to give a call out to the fact that like witchcraft is like, all you got to do is look on Instagram 1 second, you see all the witchcraft, all the places, anytime anyone's talking about manifesting, creating your reality, harnessing the power of your mind, or calming your mind, we're talking about witchcraft, like consciously shift, or the power to shift our consciousness at will. We're just becoming better at shifting our consciousness, because when we're in a state of our juice, our power, our love, our devotion, we light this fucking world up, and there is no stopping it, that power. So I invite us now, I want to know, what is your spell? So whatever you shared about your grief, or whatever reflection you had on your witch wound, what is some desire that you have to express yourself in the world? So this is also known as an affirmation or a spell. And the affirmation could be, so if I was feeling like connected to my sister wound, and I was really like, my affirmation, my literal statement of reality could be, I feel safe to be vulnerable with women. I am safe to be me. I am good enough. So simple, right? I am in communion with Gaia. We work together. Yes, I'm safe to be powerful. Thank you, Lauren. You guys, you can drop yours in. You're gonna dance with it, but drop it into the chat right now. And when you say it, you wanna feel it in your body. Like, it's gotta feel good in your body. That's how you know a spell is good, is when it feels good in your body and you can like, yeah, I can get into that. I can get into that. Just a few other examples is, I'm safe to be me. I'm just looking at our witch wounds and making up affirmations here. I love being seen. So Lauren's such an inspiration for me, because part of my witch wound is like, I don't feel comfortable on Instagram, like airing my witchiness out to everyone. And then I see her and I'm like, she's so in her magic that it activates my magic and it makes me feel safe to be seen. So let me know when you got your affirmations and you can drop them in. I'm aligned. Heck yeah. Bring it, magic woman. I'm going to begin to drop us into a song to dance with our ancestors, our well ancestors, our healed ancestors, our ancestors that love us so much, that literally worked their life and all their power so that we could be here. And they love that we're here, and they love that we're reclaiming, and all their support is available. We have all the energy of the earth and all the energy of the ancestors at our fingertips. So we're going to dance with the ancestors for about 3 minutes here. And I want you, as you dance, I want you to connect with your feminine sensuality, connect with the hips of your grandmothers, the breath. Feel free to touch it. Feel free for all those women who feel uncomfortable touching, and maybe that's us, right? And to say your affirmation, speak your affirmation, and to feel it as true. That's the magic, to feel it as true. What is it like to feel powerful? What is it like to embody power? So I will begin now. And even if you're in the backseat of a cab, you can just feel yourself. You can, yeah. All right, loves, we've got about 3 minutes here for dancing with the ancestors in any way that feels good for you.
In my blood, in my bones, I hear your voice. Ancestors dance with me, ancestors chant with me. I hear your voice, I hear your call in my blood, in my bones. I hear your voice, I hear your call. Ancestors dance with me, ancestors chant with me. I hear your voice, I hear your call in my blood, in my bones. I hear your voice, I hear your call. Ancestors dance with me, ancestors chant with me. I hear your voice, I hear your call in my blood, in my bones. I hear your voice, I hear your call. Ancestors dance with me, ancestors chant with me. I hear your voice, I hear your call. Ancestors dance with me, ancestors chant with me. I hear your voice, I hear your call. Ancestors dance with me, ancestors chant with me. I hear your voice, I hear your call.
I want to dance with y'all for an hour with spells and embodying our truth and embodying our affirmations. And may that always be a practice of all of us, that every time we drop into the sacredness of our dance, that we remember who we are. We remember this devotion that lives in our heart. I'll give you the name of that song when we close. We'll close in just a minute. So now to activate the power of the spell, hopefully you spoke it aloud, but now with witness, we amplify that. So I invite you, if you feel comfortable, to unmute and to speak your spell 3 times and to feel it in your body as you do. And if it feels good to like embody it with a shape or a movement, you're also welcome to do that. And just feel free to unmute yourself as we close down. So I'm gonna start. And I was inspired by Lauren's, and I feel Lauren's, and I was dancing with Lauren's, and it is, I am powerful. I am powerful. I am powerful. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I am safe to be powerful. I am safe to be powerful. I am safe to be so fucking powerful.
Loves, can you feel it in your body? Can you feel it in your body, her truth? Can you feel how true that is? And then you guys know her, so you know how true that is, right? And we're projecting that onto each other and healing each other and supporting each other's spells. So I invite you, as the next person unmutes, you're on mute, and I invite you to speak their affirmation after them 3 times. Yeah? So go.
I'll go. I Mine like changed halfway through and it just felt so much stronger. So mine was I am safe to take up space. There's it. Yeah. Um I am safe to take up space. I am safe to take up space. I am safe to take up space. Hmm.
And so it is. Feel free to unmute yourself when you're ready to speak your spell.
Is safe to share my expression. Is safe to share my expression. Is safe to express myself.
And so it is. It is already done. Anyone else feels called, feel free to unmute. I see you, Ali, but can I hear you? Speak a little louder. Let me see if I can hear you.
I haven't spoken yet.
Yeah, cool. There
I
you are.
am safe to be and to feel good and care. I am safe to be me and to feel good in my hips. I am safe to be me and to feel good in my hips.
And so it is. It is already done. Thank you, Ali. Anyone else who feels called is welcome. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Yeah, honoring that. Beautiful, honoring your beautiful truth. Excellent, loves. I invite you to take your hands, palm, fingers face down, that Yoni Mudra right over your womb and connect in with the power of your desire. Your desires are the way spirit and goddess and earth moves through you and speaks, works through you for the benefit of all. Feel how your desires desire you, and activating the hips and the womb and remembering your truth as a woman awakens your magic. Bringing that mudra up to the heart to direct it outward, from the heart out through the magic wands of our arms and our fingertips, through our actions and our love, we express our devotion. In this sacred circle of women, we activate and amplify the devotion within our hearts in service to all beings across time and space, ancestors and descendants. And finally, take that up to the third eye center or even higher, the witch's cap at the crown. Feel yourself as the channel, as the portal for the wisdom of the cosmos, the great dark womb from which all things arose, channeling down through your mind, heart, into your womb and back into the earth. And feel the power of your own discernment developed through bravery and shadow work. Your wisdom, the wisdom of the crone within you, the wise woman within you, claiming your crone, claiming your aging, claiming your body as part of your wisdom and discernment. And then bringing the hands into Anjali Mudra at the heart center and just meeting all of these three cauldrons at the center of your heart. With deep honoring of our own magic, our power to shift our consciousness at will, our medicine, with deep honoring of the power of circle. We offer gratitude to all the women throughout history who have stood in their power, their body, and their truth, even amidst persecution. As we lift our heart open, we bow down to the light within, the source of our magic, the source that animates the air, the fire, the water, and the earth. Taking a breath, blessed be beauties, looking into the eyes of these magical priestesses and witches, seeing their power, seeing them in the truth of their affirmation, honoring them as you honor yourself, honoring them so that we can honor ourselves, right? That's the way it works. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you, alchemists, wise women, witches. This is my joy and my pleasure. And Lauren's work just like turns me up and on and awakens like my power. And so I'm so grateful to be dropping in both here and also with the moon rituals. And I'm going to post here, if you desire to connect, what I have for you is I have, like, Samhain's my favorite season, and I've been doing rituals for like many years around it. So I have my Wake the Witch playlist that I've been working with for 4 years. So if you want that, you can type your email in the thing. If you desire, I have other rituals. I think I have a link there. Oh yeah, I have a link at the free rituals place. But if you want the playlist and also the Wake the Witch yoga flow, which is an activation with the moon, physical embodied activation with the moon, I have that for you as well. So feel free, if you want, to type your name in the chat and become part of this like broadened community that keeps broadening. And next year in the spring, we'll be starting Mystery School. So if you feel the call to connect at all, you can just hop your email here, and you'll hear as the things come through. And I want to really thank you for your bravery in being a part of this membership and claiming your truth, claiming your power, claiming your sisterhood. And yeah, that's it. So I'm free to stick around for a few minutes. Lauren and I were going to chat after anyway. So if anyone wants to share their experience, you're welcome to stay on. Otherwise, blessed be.
Thank you so much, Haley. Let's just take a moment to thank Haley so much for coming into this space, for sharing her magic that is so apparent. Thank you so much, sister. I received so much value from that. Like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to share with you what just came up for me. Really, thank you so much. You really moved me a lot.
My deep pleasure. Oh. Y'all feel free to unmute yourself if you want to share anything about your story. And oh, don't forget, you have a stone or an energetic stone. So when you get out of the cab, drop it, or when you right now go drop it. Or if you actually are like taking space, like you're going to have a run on the beach tonight, or you're bleeding, so you're going to be in ritual tonight or whatever with the earth, like you can save it. Just please don't forget it in your kitchen. Like, don't just leave this lying around, offer it back with a prayer and a breath.
I just wanted to say thank you. I think that was like very informative, but I just like felt a lot of it. Like it gave a lot of clarity on like, okay, well, how far I've come, number one, because you brought up a lot of these wounds. I'm like, yes, I've experienced a lot of this. And the worthiness, that's something I'm still like heavy on, like, but like everything else, I'm like, wow, like I've come really far. Like, I don't care to be seen as who I am anymore. Like, same thing with like, I see people like mostly Lauren actually, but like a lot of people I follow, I've curated my feed. Like like I don't feel uncomfortable reposting about like my cycles or whatever. Like, I don't care who sees anything. Like, you don't like it, don't follow me. Like, but yeah, so that felt really good. And then just also was like just sad to see how much it came along with like the trauma we all feel, like the heaviness we all feel, and just collectively, I guess, that we're going through it. But thank you. It was beautiful. Hour, 2 hours. I don't know how long we were on here actually.
And immense. Yeah, Kayla, beautiful. Thank you so much. felt you so strong in that ritual. And yeah, I feel you. Thank you for celebrating yourself. Thank you for celebrating yourself, because that's such magic. Like, I want to really acknowledge that you bringing that, like, the first thing that came out of your mouth was like, I've really come far. And that is a claiming of your power. Like, that shows how far you've come. That the
Thank
first
you.
thing as a group of women that you speak up, you're like, I'm doing great. Heck yeah. May all women feel empowered to speak that truth in circles of women and in life. Thank you for being
Thank
that
you.
trailblazer and embodying that truth.
I want to share that I'm just noticing like how safe I feel right now. Is so much. It's like my nervous system just changed like so much from before this call, and how I feel like so safe in being a woman right now. And how I visit the States, but then I get out and I'm like, man, I feel so bad, or there's something so wrong. But the septic mind, I can observe it, but it's so strong still that is like the block for stepping into like all the magic that I have, all the flow that I have, all the everything, right? Is I even see you different than in the beginning of the conversation. And this is like the Nosara energy. I'm always like, this is like the Nosara energy that I like to be and I like to carry with me, and I like to like be in, because like I feel safe with women, I feel safe with myself, and I can discern when something is not safe. So I feel like safety is just the major word for women. So I'm really grateful that I'm consistent as much as I can in this work, in this women work, getting deeper and prioritize it even more. And that's why like I'm gonna have like a session with Laura into my moon, because like this has to be priority. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Beauty. Yes, it feels so good to feel you. And you identified, like, by noting your nervous system, it's like that is the power to change our consciousness at will. What we're basically saying is a mastery of our nervous system. I don't even like that word mastery. It's like a conscious relationship to our nervous system and our capacity to feel safe. That is our capacity to create magic and to manifest in the world. So beautiful. I feel you feeling so safe, and it makes me feel safe. You empower me to feel safer. Thank you. Thank you for embodying that.
I like that. That's what I was gonna say. I feel like I can feel it in my body, and I could actually feel that magic in the air. I feel like some of it was the candle. Yeah, I feel like we might be a distance away from each other, but I definitely felt the circle. Thank you, Haley.
Yeah, absolutely. The cosmic power of collapsing the time-space continuum is so part of the witch. And it's so funny to use that word, because really, like, we're zooming right now, and like, but there's more than that happening, right? Like you said, I feel you. We feel each other, and we're magnetizing each other's magic, and that is collapsing the space continuum. You know, like, that is like, we are together, like our hearts are amplifying each other's hearts. Your embodiment of safety is shifting my nervous system so that I'm embodying safety. And that is incredible, powerful magic. The power of circle amplifies that magic so deeply. So heck yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Okay, thank you, loves. I'm gonna close here, but I appreciate you all. I truly just felt all of that at the end too. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm so glad I showed up.
Yes.
So much love.
I'm gonna go to
Ciao, loves. Much love.
Tao Tao.
Thank you.
Love you, Mile.
Bye.
Bye.